on, everybody? It's Rob with Claims Masters, and today I want to talk about exactly how I can help contractors regardless of your physical location. And in order to do that, I want to go right over to this training CRM that I've made in order to show you guys exactly how that works. So guys, again, this is not my actual CRM. I couldn't show you guys that because there's a lot of information that I can't show. But it's a training CRM. It's going to give you a pretty good idea on how this works. So let's look at this first category here, job received. So I'll set you guys up as a user within my CRM system, and you can automatically import that information directly into my system. And so when a job goes into that category, it needs to have a signed contract with your client, a loss report if it's available at that time, if one's been generated by the insurance company, and some basic pictures of the damages in question. So when you have all that stuff, it will go into the job received category. After that, we're immediately going to pull an Eagle View in order to expedite the process. This process can already take some time, on average about 45 days. And so, however we can expedite the process, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to pull an Eagle View right away, because that could take a day or two or three to get. So that's when we're going to pull that. The next category here is loss report received. I need to see a copy of that loss report to kind of know where to start. So did the adjuster approve repairs? Did they approve the roof at bad numbers or good numbers? Did they look at the interior, the siding, the other structure? I need to know where we're at, and so that's why it's important that I get a copy of the loss report. Now, we come down to a more thorough inspection. So, if you're a local contractor, my team will go out there and thoroughly document and take hundreds of pictures of the roof, the siding, other structures, the interior, the attic, all bedrooms and hallways and closets. And so it's so important to do a full, thorough inspection. So I can train your staff to do that inspection as well. I actually have made training modules that'll show you guys exactly how that process goes, along with a checklist so no details are missed. If you become a client, we will get into that later. I'll give you guys access to those training modules and checklists. Once the property inspection is done, and we have all the pictures and documentation we need, now we create an Xactimate estimate that's fully backed up with photos, with documentation, with building codes. Any items that may be in question, we back up with the reasoning behind it. For example, a lot of times the insurance company doesn't want to pay for counter flashing on a chimney unless it was hail. If it was wind, there's no direct physical damage. So we'll explain why that needs to be covered. Ice and water shield, code item. We'll get into that stuff more later after you guys jump on board here. So now that the Xactimate is complete, we're going to take Mr. Leotardo here, and we're going to shift him over to present to the insurance company. When we send over that Xactimate, we're going to have a kind of an introduction email that kind of gives them an overview of what's going on with this claim. Within the estimate itself, that's where all the photographs are housed, all the building codes, all the justifications for whatever items that we're asking for and are going to be required for this build are mostly are all in that estimate, and whatever else isn't in that estimate will be in the body of the email itself that goes to the insurance company. So it's now been presented to the insurance company, and now we move it along to in review, which yes, there it is right there. Let me just check something real quick. In review, here we go. So when it's in the in review section of the CRM, it means exactly that. It's in review by the insurance company. After we email over our estimate and the email itself, we give the insurance company a reasonable amount of time to look it over. A reasonable period of time in this case is probably 3 or 4 days. After 3 or 4 days goes by, if we don't get a response from the insurance company yet, we follow it up with an email. We got a very specific email templates that we send to the insurance company depending on what phase it's in. And it's important to stay up, stay on the insurance companies. Otherwise, somebody else might be doing that, and your claim might get pushed to the bottom of the pile. So usually every 2 to 3 days, we send a follow-up to the insurance company saying, what's the deal, what's the status? And a lot of times they'll come back and they'll say, well, it's missing this, it needs a picture of that, and we want to go over this particular line item in the estimate or whatever the heck. So we get those things agreed to in the in-review section. After that, we have in the CRM ITEL. That's common. Let's say the insurance company said, okay, we're going to approve the roof for a 30 shingle repair. Well, you need to figure out is, can a reasonable match be obtained, especially if you're in a matching state. Even if you're not in a matching state, I mean, usually that's a industry standard that the repairs have to be reasonable in appearance. So if that's the appropriate thing to send a shingle sample to ITEL, that's what you should do. And it could be a repairability issue, one way or another. You may have to jump through some hoops at that point, and it could call for appraisal or a public adjuster, which is the next category here. Appraisal and public adjusters, they definitely have a time and a place. If you are going back and forth with an unreasonable adjuster, don't continue to waste any more time. If they're just not willing to listen to reason, go ahead and move that over to an appraiser or a public adjuster. And so we have those people on our team internally, and so if that's where it needs to go, we just go ahead and move it to that category. The appropriate person will get a notification within our CRM that they've been assigned to a new job, and then they'll start doing their thing. So either after review or after the public adjuster, depending on which way the claims goes, it's now released for construction. So when we move things into that category, it means that we have agreed upon scope of work, we have agreed upon figures, everything's been agreed to, and then my team will let your team or the construction company know that we now have an agreeable scope and we can go ahead and move things forward. So after the release for construction category, it now goes into send invoice or supplement to the insurance company. So in many cases, the insurance company pays out initially ACV, your actual cash value check, and most of the times it has recoverable depreciation. That depreciation is recovered after the work is complete. So you guys, once again, we have training for this. You'll need to take a couple pictures showing that the work is complete. We'll send over the invoice along with photographs and maybe a certificate of completion to the insurance company. They'll release the recoverable depreciation and any paid when incurred items. If there's any supplements that have occurred, we'll send a supplement with that as